0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit tarox.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mike Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver Podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. From a pot of tea to TT motorbikes. From a classic English breakfast to a full serving of classic cars. Bridge House Tea Rooms is the Northwest premier classic car meeting location for cars, bikes, tractors and owners clubs. So no matter what your automotive appetite might be, visit Bridge House Farm Tea Rooms on their Facebook page or call John and Alicia on 07980 444 221 for show details and to reserve your own table and parking space.
I'd like to welcome back to the Backseat Driver Radio Show Patrick Watts, who I hope you all listened to part 1. It's a fascinating story of a professional racing driver's life. Patrick, welcome back to the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
Thank you very much. Hi, Mark.
Right, we finished on you getting behind the wheel of the Peugeot, and as you were saying, unlike your other teams that you were surrounded by who've been testing all year in Spain and things like that, you climbed behind the wheel of the car more or less to drive straight onto the grid and go qualifying.
Unfortunately, that's the case. I think we did very well, or the team did very well, given the budget restraints that Peugeot gave them. Or they didn't anticipate what the other teams were spending. But this was the days of the SuperTouring, where a car would cost the best part of 300,000 or 400,000 to build.
Yeah.
Now, put it in perspective, that's probably £1 million today. So the top teams, like the Fords, Renault, Renault cars were built by Williams.
Yeah.
The Fords by ProDrive. RML, Raymount Racing, the Nissans, and it went on. McLaren built this was for some of the years. McLaren built the BMWs. They were all very big budget teams spending 6, 7, 8 million pounds.
Yeah.
To compete in 12 rounds of the British Touring Car Championship. And I know Peugeot was spending less than 3 billion.
Yeah.
Which sounds a lot of money, but in perspective, it means that we didn't go testing. The cars weren't ready for the winter testing. We never did any winter testing. We did a few laps at maybe Shakedown at Silverstone on a track that was covered in ice or wet. So when we turned up at the first race meeting, all the other teams were highly tanned where they'd been abroad testing. Our lot were draggled. The cars were ready the day before, and we had to compete against the people who were so much more prepared than us.
Well, I suppose it brings you back to the old statement in motor racing, you're as fast as your wallet will allow you to go.
Yeah. We were fast. And I think, looking back on it, I seem to remember if we were 3 or 4 tenths of a lap quicker, we would have been on pole position and been up there at the front.
Yeah.
But 3 or 4 tenths of a second dropped you from the quickest person back to just squeeze inside the top 10.
Yeah.
I remember when Nigel Mansell joined the championship as the third car in the Ford team, and on a Wednesday test day up at Brands Hatch on the short circuit, we all tested all day, and we all had the screens where all the lap times for everybody comes up, and maybe 2 weeks before the actual Brands Hatch round occurred. But this was just a test day, and all the teams would be there, all the big Pantechnicons would be up there, the whole lot would be up there, and would be testing all day long.
Yeah.
Nigel Mansell, that was his first taste of the British Touring Car Championship, where his teammate was on pole, or quickest in the test session, and he was half a second down.
Yeah.
Which he probably wasn't too upset about, but it put him 24th quickest. He was the slowest driver.
Yeah.
Half a second off his teammate, who's quickest, and he was half a second slower. He was 24th quickest.
Yeah.
And I remember that distinctly. And if you could knock off 200ths of a second, you'd jump up from 16th to 12th or something like that. Or
Yeah.
from 12th to 5th. Brands Hatch was actually my local circuit. And one story that my engineers have never got round to answering the question as to what happened on this test day. But it was a test day with the Peugeot 406. And and it was on the Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah.
And it was wet. And I'm always good in the wet. I always like the wet.
Yeah.
And I was quickest. All morning in the wet, I was quickest. And wow, this is fantastic, you know? But they'd put a new diff in there. One of these, what they called a combi diff.
Yeah.
Which was a normal plate diff with a silicon diff alongside it.
Yeah.
So it was a combi diff. And this was the first time we'd tried it. And the car was quickest. It's quickest. Everybody, Winkelhock, Soper, Gleland, quickest in the wet. And I remember saying to somebody, you wait until this afternoon, it'll be dry.
Yeah.
We'll be back to 10th quickest. Or thereabouts in the dry. And sure enough, it was drying over lunch. So after lunch, the track was dry. Went out again, and I was quickest in the dry.
Right.
And I remember between me and Winkelhock, we were quickest and second quickest all through the afternoon. Clement was about half a second down. All these other people were, slower. And at the end of the day, we were quickest in that test session,
Yeah.
even in the dry. Wow, that new combi diff is fantastic. It's great. Tim Harvey was my teammate.
And not being funny, Tim Harvey is a well-known fast driver.
Yeah, it is good. He tested that diff at another circuit later on that week. He hadn't tested it at Brands Hatch. And after that test session, I wasn't at that test session. I sort of phoned them up. MSD were running the car. And I said, how did Tim get on? He said, well, it didn't seem to work for him, the diff.
Yeah.
We weren't particularly quick. I think they were testing at 7. It wasn't particularly, any different to a normal diff. I said, oh, well, it worked at Brands Hatch anyhow. So anyhow, we've got Brands Hatch. We've done the test session, and we were quickest. We've got the race this weekend coming. So looking forward to that. Went out for qualifying, and the car just understeered like a pig.
Yeah.
It was slow. And so after qualifying, where I qualified about 12th or 14th, I said, what happened? What happened? So, well, the car set up exactly the same as it was when you were quickest.
Yeah.
I said, well, something is different. Anyhow, they said, no, nothing's changed. So that's the difference between our team and other teams.
Yeah.
By luck, they'd made the car quick for one race, but they didn't know why.
Yeah.
Well, not one race, one test session, but they never knew why. I think that's just a testimony to how sensitive these cars were.
Yeah.
And maybe our team didn't realise how sensitive they were and how exactly you have to get everything set up. But, yeah, it was a mystery.
And because, I mean, the 406 technically should have been a good car, shouldn't it? Because it was surrounded by what you might call identical cars to a degree. It was just, as you said, the preparation and the budget was different. I mean, could you see potential in the car that was never quite achieved?
Well, funny enough, I've got the car sitting here in my workshop.
Oh.
Well, yeah, it belongs to a customer of mine, because I run, as a hobby now, I'm retired from my main business, and I have a nice big workshop, and I like fiddling around with my own cars, and I fiddle around with a few other people's cars as well. I've got a couple of employees, and yeah, I was approached by a guy that bought that car, that exact car, back from Australia, and he's got me to rebuild it. So we've rebuilt it. I've also got the 1998 car, which I didn't drive. I've left Peugeot by then.
Yeah.
I've also got that in my workshop as well. And the cars are beautifully built. They've got everything there.
Yeah.
And the 1998 car, which wasn't successful in Tim Harvey and Paul Radis's hands in the Touring Car Championship in '98, that then went to Australia, and the Australians got me to drive it in the first 4 rounds of the Australian Touring Car Championship in '99.
Yeah.
Where I was leading the championship. The car was highly competitive. But the guy that ran it over there did say that he'd made a few tweaks.
Yeah.
And those tweaks were based around the rear suspension, where it was not stiff enough.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of flex at the back end, which would mean it would roll to oversteer once you stressed up. Basically, the wheels were bending under the car when you went around the corners.
Yeah.
Creating oversteer, which was uncontrollable. And that's the problem with the car. The car would, you go into a corner, the back would come out. It should then transfer load onto the rear tyre that's loaded and load it even more with a bit of oversteer.
Yeah.
But it didn't. That wheel was effectively rolling underneath the car. It was basically rolling the camber off it. And that was the problem that the Australians found, made a small modification to the rear subframe, and the car was highly competitive.
Yeah.
Over in Australia. And then 10 years later, I bought that car back from Australia. The team still owned it over there, and I phoned them up, and this was at the time when the touring cars had actually become historic cars.
Yeah.
And they had the historic SuperTouring Championship in the UK about 3 or 4 years ago. And the value of them was going up. I got onto Australia. I said, what happens to the car I was driving? They said, oh, it's sitting in the warehouse. I said, well, I'll buy it with all the spares.
Yeah.
Got it back over here, raced it there, and yeah, it was very competitive. So maybe that final tweak that the Aussies did to it would have made the difference had only, with hindsight, we should have got the Australians over here to run it.
Now, one of the things I noticed you did, you drove in the famous Bathurst 1000. I mean, that's like one of the world's most demanding races. What's it like to drive that event?
Well, half the circuit reminded me of my hill climb days, and that's when you come down from the mountain, down through the cutting.
Yeah.
And that's really twiddly. It's like a helter-skelter. The rest of it is quite fast. It's a cross between Cadwell Park and Donington, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fast open corners. You've got the famous Conrod Straight.
Yes.
Which is downhill, where the super tourists were getting up to 160 miles an hour apparently down there. And at the end of Conrod Straight, there's a kink to the right, which you have to take, get over to kink to the right, get over to the right, and then take a left-hander after braking very hard.
Yeah.
And it was amazing that how late you could brake for that because of the downforce that we're creating at 160 miles an hour. The aero on these cars, okay, it works at the maximum speed around the UK circuits might be 140 at Thruxton or Silverstone.
Yeah.
But 160, you get so much more downforce, and it really showed up on some of those Bathurst corners. I shared with a guy called Neil Crompton, who had just won the North American Touring Car Championship in a Honda. But and he would have been quite competitive if it wasn't for the fact that we're all using sequential gearboxes.
Yeah.
And the Honda, you push the lever forwards to go up through the box, and on the Peugeot, you push the lever backwards to go up through the box.
Yeah.
So Peugeot went over there with two engines, the test engine and the qualifying engine. Test engine, which was going to be the qualifying engine, and then the race engine.
Yeah.
But as soon as the wheel went out, him not used to the direction you pull the lever for the sequential box, blew the engine up straight away.
By going down instead of up.
Yeah. So I got about 6 laps in before qualifying on the race engine, and so I didn't know the circuit that well, but nevertheless still qualified at the front of the grid. And I've been told that the engine won't last. It was a 3-hour race. The engine won't last 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you had what's his name? Peter Brock.
Yeah.
Peter Brock was sharing with Peter Brock is like a legend.
Yeah.
He's a legend throughout the world, but he's a legend big time in Australia. And all cameras will be on Peter Brock. He has won the Bathurst race so many times.
Yeah.
He had all these crowds around him the whole time, signing autographs. Great guy. He posed a funny question to me in the bar after we'd been tested. He said, "Did you bring your handbrake with you?"
Yeah.
I thought, well, these cars don't have handbrakes. What's he talking about? So handbrake? He said, handbrake. Your wife? Did you bring your wife with you? But in the race, I ended up sort of sitting behind Peter Brock, and I thought I could overtake him, but the engine's not the last if I thrash it. So all I do is pace myself, sit behind Peter Brock, and I'll get all the camera.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the cameras were always on Peter Brock and me, because I was sitting behind him. And then actually the engine didn't blow up, the alternator bracket broke.
Yeah.
And that was it. So Neil Crompton never got another go in the car.
No.
So, but no, it was great. Bathurst was a fantastic experience. It's a village in the middle of nowhere, little small town in the middle of nowhere, at the foot of Mount Panorama, that just is motor racing through and through.
Yeah.
I mean, every single bar you went into was they were playing Bathurst videos. We would walk around the town with our Peugeot T-shirts on and things like that. And you'd be bought drinks by everybody. It was great. It was great. It was great experience. Love to do it again. I'd love to go there and do the V8s. But too old for that now. Too old. I'm 66 now. I would be getting more sensible.
You're all right. I'm catching you up by
over there.
I'm catching you up.
Me over there.
I'm catching you up ever so slightly. Now from there you've gone into racing Ginetta in endurance.
A Ginetta?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a couple of goes in a Ginetta. Yeah, that's Richard Burrows' Ginetta. I had a go in that, showing with him. He's the guy that owns the Peugeot 406, the first in the British Touring Car Championship that won that and the one that we bought back from Bathurst.
Right.
So I met him through that. And as it was going to take a long time to get the Peugeot ready, he went out and bought Janetta.
Yeah.
And said, Patrick, share it with me. So I did a few races for that. Most of my racing nowadays has been historic cars. I've got an old Allard, 1950 Allard J2.
Yeah.
Which is a bedstead with a 5.4 litre Cadillac engine in it.
I was going to say, that was the one thing about Sidney Allard. He produced very unusual looking cars and proceeded to shoehorn infeasible American engines into them.
Well, Sidney Allard started off, not Sidney Allard, it was, yes, Carroll Shelby used to race Allards.
Yeah.
And it was him that got the idea off Sidney Allard to put an American engine in an English chassis.
Yeah.
So really, the Allard D2 is the forerunner or grandfather of the AC Cobra.
Yeah.
Which is the cousin of the Sunbeam Tiger.
Yes.
Okay, a big American engine in a nice little English chassis. But I've raced that at Monaco.
Right.
And a couple of times, and I've raced it also at Le Mans. So that's a great challenge. And also makes you... I've got a roll cage in my car, but when the race racing periods, no seat belts, no roll cage, no crash barriers, just trees around the circuit.
Yeah.
The drivers were brave. I'm less brave, so, I've got the roll cage, I've got the seat belts, but that's what I'm doing nowadays. I'm racing historic cars. I've got a historic Mini as well I race, which I shared with one race with Amy last year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get her out in that again this year and see how quick she is in that. And what else have I got? I'm building up my Sunbeam Tiger again to do the Peking to Paris rally.
All right.
And I would be out there working on that right now, getting it ready to ship it over to Peking. If it wasn't for the fact it's been cancelled for a year because of obviously the problems with COVID, getting from like all these different borders or driving from Peking to Paris. You have to go through quite a few, you'd be doing quite a few weeks of COVID isolation, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Peking Paris is, I mean, I've never done it, I've never been to see it, but I've watched films on it, and it is incredibly hard on the cars. I think, well, besides being hard on the crews, it's extremely hard on the cars. And I get the feeling that no matter how much preparation you put in, you are going to have mechanical problems somewhere along the lines.
I don't know. I mean, my Sunbeam Tiger has done the British Historic Rally Championship, and that's when you're driving flat out down these bumpy gravel roads. You're on Epping, where you're going airborne. You're doing the Isle of Man, where you're airborne a lot and crashing down. I mean, you're absolutely flat out. Across some of the roughest terrain. By the time you've done the second lap around, like Dolby, where we were supporting the British Historic Rally Championship, the roads get very grooved and dug up by the four-wheel drive sort of modern rally cars. And by the time we've done the second leg, we're going through all those grooves and crashing about, and you're just flat out everywhere. Flat out everywhere. On the Peking to Paris, when it gets a bit bumpy, I'll just go a bit slower.
Yeah.
I won't be going airborne anywhere, so I can't see it will be hard on the car. And also, there were 1930s Bentleys doing it.
Yeah. I mean, one of it, one year, I think it was 2019, there was well over 100 years old, a tricycle did it, and a steam car actually did it and finished. It was the owner's dream for a steam car to actually compete in and finish the Peking to Paris.
Yeah, because I read that didn't ever finish it in period.
No.
But it finished it when it did it a couple of years ago. An old steam car. So if they can do it, I think my Sunbeam Tiger rally car can do it.
Yeah.
But it depends on if you're going to win. I don't know what it takes actually to win it. I think it's a navigation bit, but there are some high-speed bits. But
because it also includes in certain parts of the world, I think it's parts of Russia and Finland, you actually do a little bit of circuit work as well. There's circuit racing in and regularity.
Yeah, I mean, the circuit racing stuff, no problem on the car. No problem with the driver. Again, it's my handbrake, the wife, who might be saying slow down.
So the good lady is going to be your navigator and co-driver, is she?
Oh, it's her project.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she was talking to someone at Goodwood who'd done it, and then she said to me sort of later on, "Hey, can we do the Peking to Paris rally?" I said, "Well, it's very expensive to do, and like if you want to do it, you can do it, but like there's, we're going to go fast.
Yeah.
You've never been that fast before. You think I drive fast on the road. You want to see how fast you can actually go." She said, like, "Okay, but you don't have to go flat out everywhere, do you?" I said, "Well, okay, let's see. Let's get there first and find out." But no, seriously, we will be doing it for the fun.
Yeah.
For the tour. We did a novice rally. This is with Hero ERA, who are the organisers.
Yeah.
And they had a novice rally based up at Bicester last year, which we did. And it teaches you about navigation and all that. So that would be good for her. And so I did it in my 970S Mini.
Yeah.
And we had to average from one place to another whilst doing all this navigation stuff and compasses and map references, had to average 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And she thought I'd really hate that. Going on at 25 miles an hour, slow down, we're ahead of average, we're going to be averaging too much. And they have checkpoints every now and again to check all that. You know? But no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being with my wife. I enjoyed the challenge of driving slowly. Which is sometimes more of a challenge than driving quickly. It was through the beautiful Cotswolds. We had a lovely day.
Yeah.
We had a lovely day on my little Mini. And I think we finished, about last.
Yeah.
But only because we took a couple of wrong points.
Yeah.
Where it says go 4.23 miles, turn left. Well, I think we went 4.24 miles and turn left.
Yeah.
And then it says drive for 6 miles and get to a roundabout. You drive for 6 miles, there's no roundabout there. And that's when you realise you actually took the wrong left.
Yeah.
Because they always do that. They put tricks in like that. They have 2 left-hand turns and they're 100 yards apart. And one's at 4.34, the other's at 4.35 miles. You've got to get it absolutely dead right.
Yeah.
And you don't realise in the States 6 miles, when you go 6 miles, there's no effing roundabout here.
Now, as time goes on, Amy commented she wants to do her racing under her own steam. She doesn't want to trade on the fact that her father's Patrick Watts. Where do you see Amy?
That's what Nicola Rosberg said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do you see Amy's racing going, or do you think she will eventually follow in your footsteps and maybe become a British touring car driver?
It's almost impossible to do it yourself without someone's help.
Yeah.
I was very lucky because to get into the British Touring Car Championship, because everybody was paid. The manufacturers went out and they looked for the best driver that they can employ to drive their cars. That doesn't happen now. The drivers have to, in the British Touring Car Championship, the drivers have to come with sponsorship.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are, how quick you are. The first question any team will say is, have you got the budget to do it?
Yeah.
And if you've got the budget, you're in it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Formula One.
Yes.
How many drivers there are bringing sponsorship with them? I don't know, half of them.
I think it was worked out was that apart from, shall we say, the top 6 drivers who are paid to be there, the rest of them bring their wages, etc., with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can win the Formula 2 championship, GP2 championship, but how come the guy who came fourth has got the drive and not the guy that won?
Yeah.
Because the guy that came fourth is Russian and he's got the budget.
Yeah.
And so therefore in the British Touring Car Championship it's the same. And so if I were to give money, give Amy the money to do it, she could be in the British Touring Car Championship next year.
Yeah.
But if she wants to do it off her own back, well, in that case, as I advise many young kids that want to go motor racing, what's the next stage? I said, well, first of all, get a degree in psychology.
Yeah.
Get a degree in business studies, accountancy, law, and then you can approach customers, potential sponsors rather, and get the money off them. But to get the money, you either earn the money or you go to a potential sponsor and come up with a very good case for them putting their name on the side of your car.
Yeah.
And to do that, I think you've got to be a business person. That's why I say do business studies and all that, and then you can anticipate what a potential sponsor will need. And then you can go out and get the sponsorship, which is very hard to do. Or you use your family connections.
Yeah. I mean, one question that has to be asked. Do you feel a sense of pride when you see her out there racing, doing what you do?
Oh, wow, yes. It was, yeah, I wouldn't be backing Amy, and I wouldn't be excited about going racing. I can't remember when I was last excited about going to a race meeting.
Yeah.
Apart from when I'm doing it with Amy.
Yeah.
If she was slow and useless, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
It would just knock all my enthusiasm for doing it on the head. But she is good. She is potentially good. We'll probably find out by the end of this year. She's racing she's racing the C1s again, and she was pretty good at Brands the last race. It's taken a little time, taken 5 races.
Yeah.
But then again, that's not a lot. To have the confidence, but it's the confidence really. I think everybody's born with talent. But when it comes down to motor racing, you can have that talent, but if you're not confident and you can't drive by instinct, then you'll never be quick.
Yeah.
And I think she's had a bit of a scaredy gene from her mother, where she was a little bit too cautious, not overstepping her talent. A lot of people crash and they say, why did you crash? I ran out of talent.
Yeah.
She will never get to that position. She'll always drive within herself.
Yeah.
But therefore, what we're doing is pushing the confidence by winning the race and doing very good lap times. I'm not interested in winning races. I'm more interested in her lap times relative to everybody else.
Well, the other thing is as well, you need to finish. It's all right being spectacular if you never finish. And the one thing I've discovered chatting to Amy was there's what I think I described it as measured confidence. Good.
If that's what she put across, that's fantastic. She needs confidence. And she's definitely got it since Brands Hatch. But it was very nerve-wracking for me on that 3-hour race at Brands Hatch that we won. There were 46 other Citroen C1s out there all trying to win the race, obviously.
Yeah.
I put the car on pole position by a few hundredths of a second. So our other teammate, Orlando Lindsay, he started the race.
Yeah.
And he built up about an 8-second lead after 3/4 of an hour. And then it was Amy's go. So he pitted on a safety car, which is the most efficient time to pit, and we planned all that. So safety car came out after 45 minutes. Amy's in, she's out, and that's where my nerves started.
Yeah.
I said, right, she can only go backwards from here. She can only put it in the gravel. She can only go slowly. She can only be overtaken. Let's see how she gets on.
Yeah.
And she maintained that lead and actually extended the lead and drove very cleanly, overtook the tail enders, people she was lapping. And then when it came down to the next safety car, which we planned, which happened to be about just under an hour later, she picked exactly the right time to come in on the safety car. I jumped in the car, off we went, and all I did was maintain the lead those two had already established. But yeah, very nerve-wracking, but so happy afterwards. So happy. We had a few drinks afterwards, and I don't think Amy's couldn't stop for about a week.
Patrick Watts, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you once again for part 2 of this interview. And can I thank your good self for joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show? And as I said, it was an invitation I extended a while ago, and I'm delighted to say you kindly took it up. But once again, Patrick Watts, thanks very much for joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
My pleasure, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed, Patrick.
Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hoddy Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hoddy Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddytyres.co.uk.